I'm pretty sure by now you have seen a lot of Rumi braid tutorials, but almost all of them involve cutting hair, messy glues, or hours and hours of crimping. The question is, do you really need to do all that? Well, let's figure it out together. And if not, well, there's always a plan B. So let's start with a good base. In my case, I chose a long wig from Costcraft on the style Osaka. And I chose this wig because it has no bangs and you can make a ponytail with it, which for me was something very important. The idea was to apply heat to the front, so when I brushed all the hair back, it would stay there. I also attempted to create the toupee at the front with a small elastic, and it was actually looking quite good. However, here is where I encountered my first problem. This wig is going to be very heavy. But we will fix that later. For now, I can just pin the wig to my styrofoam head and do a first attempt at braiding it using a simple Dutch braid method. It was actually very useful to tilt the head towards me to get that braid starting as high as possible, but it was still very difficult to manage all that hair because there's a lot of hair in this wig. If you have never tried this style, you simply cross the hair underneath the braid, adding a new section of hair at a time. But of course, it failed. This is how the braid looks. The hair is pulled tight at the front, but when it gets to the bottom, it gets really loose. Of course, I did try again, but unfortunately the results were the same. And yes, that is my sword falling to the ground and breaking up. No more added pressure for this cosplay. I guess in a pinch I could wear this wig. I just need a few accessories. This looks terrible. And it falls off as well. Guess not. This hair front is not horrible, but it definitely shows a little bit of the wig cap at the top. So yeah, I think this can be improved. And obviously the length is wrong as well, so yeah, that probably will be the easiest thing to solve, perhaps, maybe. We'll see. I hate wig styling. There are a lot of problems to solve, so it is time to level up my game and get serious with this wig. So let's start by getting a better wig head that can handle the weight of my braid. The first thing I decided to fix was the front. Most people at this point would be cutting strands of hair and gluing them to the front, strand by strand, but I have a much easier solution, using this lace front extension. Okay, hear me out. This is just a test. So what I've done is I've put the lace, or I'm gonna sew the lace as close to the back as I can. And here I'm just gonna overlap it a little bit, so it gives me like a little bit, like maybe 3 or 4 centimeters extra at the front. I'm gonna see if that works or if it looks silly. I can probably, because the only part that I need lace front for is just like maybe 1 centimeter over here. So I may need to push this a little bit further in, and then I will still like be putting all these fibers up. So I think this could be the way to go. So it is time to hand sew this section, because I will never understand why people use hot glue on wigs when they can simply sew the hair. It takes less than 10 minutes, you can redo it as many times as you want, and it isn't messy. Why would you want a messy wig? I don't understand it. Can anyone tell me why? Okay, I think this is looking much better. still a little bit flat over here, but hear me out. So I thought that maybe, because this is all sewn, I can actually like push this a little bit like that and just make it so this part is pushed in like that a little bit, so I can create a little bit of a forward scroll or crown, something like that. I still have the issue that I have very dark hair. Obviously wearing the correct color thing would work, but here I think I have two options. I can either try to put a little bit of lace here and ventilate it by hand, which is something I don't want to do, or perhaps just get a little bit of hair over here. Yeah, so if I put a little bit of hair here, like baby hairs over here, oh, I look so awful with black eyebrows. But yeah, if I manage to get a little bit of hair down here, it would probably hide my hair a little bit better. Oh, I look like Elvis Presley right now. Also, look at this, how it's going. Like, yeah, definitely I've been fighting a lot of demons lately. What can I say? But I think this is actually looking much better. And if you excuse my face, I think this is actually going to work. And this only took me like 10 minutes to sew it in. So there you go. You don't need to just glue the whole head. You really don't need to. No. So my first problem was solved, and with the new hairline, it was time to try to braid the wig a second time. And this time I wanted to make sure my wig was really secure, so I could pull as much as I needed from the hair. Once again, I wanted to make sure my hair was going in the right direction, so I applied heat to the roots, this time with my steamer, which I believe is arguably faster and at the very least it's less noisy. And from my previous attempts, I knew that the little tie at the top was still my best bet for this hairstyle. But before I could do anything, I had to once again brush my hair and make it smooth to avoid as many tangles as possible. And trust me, this is something that I kept doing over and over again, and it didn't get any better through all the process, but here we go. We are just gonna try our very best to make it as smooth as possible. Same as before, I did a small ponytail at the front that would help creating the toupee. And I took my time to make it look good, because this is the most visible part of the wig and it will be very noticeable if it doesn't look right. The next braid style to try was the dragon braid, and for this one you want to make several ponytails one after another. I have seen a lot of people using this method and they make it look very easy. You simply have to part your hair in half and put it around your previous ponytail. Theoretically, this will hide the elastic and keep the hair very tight, creating that super puffy style hair braid that Rumi has. And it looks dreadful. There's more to this technique than it seems. Of course, I tried again, making sure the sides were tight and making those loops one after another as best as I could. I was still not convinced, but before I could finish, I found a new problem. Another problem I have is that my hair ties are breaking. So it's not going to do anything good if I do my whole hair and then it just doesn't work, because the braids just fall off. I hate wig styling. I absolutely hate it. I think it's looking even worse than before. I don't like how this is parted and it's showing. And what's better, my ties keep snapping, so the wig is just like it's not gonna hold because they just snap. Like there's a snap over here and there's like a big gap because so yeah, definitely I think if I were to do it this way, I would do the strands smaller to get more of these loops, but still, like, look at that. It's horrible. It's really ugly. So yeah, I think I'm gonna do one more different approach, which I have not seen done before, and see what happens. But first, even if I don't want to, I think I am going to have to crimp this wig because I just can't deal with this anymore. It's just getting tangled all the time. And even if I have never done it before, that's gonna be an interesting technique to learn today. Is this the end of my dream? Do I have to use the crimper after all? After all those efforts, will I have to resort to cutting and gluing my braid? I really don't want to. Maybe I am approaching this wig from the wrong side. I actually don't have a crimper, so while I wait for it to arrive, I will be practicing with my wig, because that's what you want to do, practice. But this time, I will start things from the bottom. I still hadn't solved the issue of my wig being too loose, so I thought I would try tying all the hair again, but this time started at the very bottom. But not with hair ties. I am going to be using cable ties instead. Good luck getting undone now, you demon wig. The wig was also still pretty heavy and the hair pulled it down, but in those cases I simply used a double tie. Of course, I still had to apply some heat to get all the fibers looking in the right direction and stay put. And remember, practice makes perfect, so I tied and untied those ponytails as many times as I needed to make it look good. Looks like something just arrived in the post. Am I really going to use it? So, this is what I got so far. This is what it looks like from the front. This is obviously stretched, so yeah. That's the hair that I haven't tied just yet, but the idea is I can just like pull this a little bit lower, but anyway, there's going to be a braid here, so that shouldn't show. And this hair is going down. It's going to hide this part. But the idea is that all this hair is already pulled back. And I'm going to try and start the braid at the top. And then add more hair, which is already tied back, so I don't need to worry about grabbing it from the sides. I can just directly grab it from the bottom here. And hopefully that's going to keep that straight while I do the braid at the top. Is it going to work? But I'm going to try it. And this wig, as you can see, has a ton of hair. And I'm still hoping that I don't need to use the crimper to get more volume, because I really don't want to be just crimping this for hours and hours. But let's see. At least we managed to solve two problems. The hair is tight and my ties are not breaking anymore. We are getting closer. But my braid isn't quite there yet. One more time, I decided to tie the top, but this time with a twist. I added a bunch of tangled hair underneath to create even more volume. This is just from brushing my wig many times, but I'm sure you can make a little bit just by grabbing a bit of hair from somewhere in the middle. I also realized that if I tied my hair very high, it gets a puffier silhouette, which is exactly what I needed. And I can simply push it forwards and add some pins to keep it in place. And you know things are getting real when they got to be glued. Hairspray is out. I pinned the top to make sure the toupee didn't move, and it was time to braid again. And yes, this is an old-style simple braid, the one that you used to wear to school every single day. Well, I did. But let me start it again so you can see it. I started my braid simply crossing the strands on top of each other, but I did something different. From here, I moved to a French braid and I started adding extra hair. And in order to keep the hair as tight as possible, I am grabbing hair from the opposite side and keeping the braid as close to the wig as possible. And yes, it is easier said than done. But of course, Rumi's hair has a lot more volume. You can easily achieve this by pinching some of the hair out of the wig. This will make it look as if it is much wider at the top. Simply keep adding more hair until you get to the bottom, and make sure you don't get your hair too far away from those ties. I would like to say this was my last try, but the reality is that I remade the braid several times until it looked exactly how I wanted. So if it doesn't work first time, do not despair. The good thing about this method is you can remake it over and over again until you are happy. Believe it or not, the hair ties also helped a lot with the distribution of the weight. And although the wig is still quite heavy, it is not pulling back as much as it was. I will give you a few extra tips at the end to help with the weight of the wig, but as it is, it was wearable without having to add anything else. The only thing left to fix is the length. And I am sorry because I am going to have to do a little cut to add my extensions. Yeah, I said no cut, but well, I think this doesn't really count. I separated my extensions into 3 parts and I immediately regretted it, but it's fine, it's gonna be fine. And I simply braided my extension to a small strand of hair at the end of the braid. You can then secure it with one more cable tie. And now just keep braiding the hair, trying to hide the joint parts. This is a very easy solution that makes your wig so much longer, and it's so much easier when you have to braid that hair because it will not be seen. As a final touch, Just pinch your braid to get a bit more volume whenever you need it, and once again use your heat to fight any rogue hairs that may be misbehaving. A little bit more hairspray and the wig was finally complete. And don't forget the extra details. Oh, and I almost forgot to add the side details. Those are easily fixed with a little bit of leftover hair and a quick styling. Are you ready for the reveal?
I feel I'm hurt, baby. Don't you see it? Oh yeah. 귀찮다는 시큰둥한 네 말투 나의 표정. 언제까지 여기라게? Oh, in the clouds 생각을 돌이켜봐도.
So here it is, a Rumi braid with no cutting, no crimping and almost no cut. And as promised, here's a couple of extra tricks to wear those heavy wigs. First of all, make sure you use a wig cap and a wig grip. This is going to make all the difference and it's gonna keep your wig in place. Styling gel is also a good shout. I have worn my wig with and without it and it works wonders. Helps hiding all those little baby hairs and it also sticks to your hairnet so it doesn't slip off. And finally, hairpins. You don't need lots, just need to be strategic about them. Pin down any areas that refuse to stay flat and your wig will be perfect for a few hours. I hope you liked this tutorial. Let me know if you found it useful and make sure to keep watching because this month I am doing a 13 cosplay challenge for Halloween and these are cosplays 2 and 3 of the lot. Thank you very much for watching and I will be seeing you in the next adventure. Bye!